Alabama's got its own kind of weirdness to it. I don't know, and it's also kind of naturally beautiful. There's a lot of lakes and rivers, and there's also the ocean that's 4 hours away from me. So like that's, I mean, not that that's a big deal to you guys, I guess, because you guys are pretty close to the ocean now, or no? I don't know, Sacramento. I don't know.
Couple hours.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Alabama's all right. I think I would rather be in Alabama than, like, no offense to Illinois, but like something like that. I don't know. It's a weird state, but in a good way, I think. Its politics can be kind of difficult at times, but I think I enjoy kind of the little bit of weirdness and like the southern culture, which is totally a real thing. It's sometimes hard to see when you're part of a university, which kind of feels like its own bubble. And the last 10 years, the university has had more undergrad from out of state than they have had in state ever in its history. So like more than half of the undergrad students, which is about 30 something thousand people, are from out of state, which makes it kind of, throws in a wrench. You just kind of be more in-house, I think. So I don't know, but once you get outside that university bubble, like there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of good people here, and it's fun. I don't know, and there's a lot of good outdoor things to do, so I like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you said bubble, because I felt the same way when I was in college. I was like, oh, this is how the world is. And you realize like there's all these bubbles. And outside of that bubble, there's just a California bubble, which we're so self-centered over here,
Hella.
But like hella self-centered.
Yeah, you guys are, what did they used to call a couple years? Well, the 2016 election, they were like Cal exit. What was it? It's not Brexit.
To this, yeah.
yeah. So
they're gonna break the state apart. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. We still talk about that here and there, because like where we grew up was really conservative, and we thought it was a small town. But hearing your small town, you kick our ass. We were like 10,000 people growing up. But it's very conservative. And then like I lived in San Francisco, and it's just complete opposite. It's like very, very extreme on one end of the spectrum. But I think it's good to get both vibes. And I'm kind of curious, like because the reason I wanted to move to the South, or why me and my girlfriend thought about it, was we talk about the South. You hear people talk about the South in California, but most of them never been. Some have, obviously, but so I was like, let's go get a real life experience. So it sounds like you got that. You talked about the Southern culture. Do you mind like kind of diving into that from someone that's like from the Rocky Mountain area of these 3 states, going over there?
Yeah. Let me think about it. I mean, I think it's, it's much more like that. It's more conservative, right? It's definitely a red state. So like you encounter that much more than I feel like, at least when I'm in Colorado. I feel like Colorado becomes more blue every time I walk in there, or every time I go into there. I mean, when I was in high school, like weed was not legal yet, and like Colorado hadn't become this like haven. I feel like it's what Portland, Oregon was a few years ago, like 10 years ago. Like everyone thought Portland was like the liberal mecca, and I feel like Denver and Colorado, Boulder are kind of becoming that. So like it's definitely it's like the opposite of that in Alabama. I mean, I think Southern culture, I feel like the manners stuff is real, like Southern manners, like ma'am and sir. I never used to say ma'am and sir to like strangers, or like at the Taco Bell drive-through thing, but now I'm feeling myself inserting it. It's almost automatic now. So it's going to be one of those things when I go back to Colorado, I'm going to say, thank you, ma'am. And someone's going to be like, what the fuck?
I'm a sir. How dare you?
You're going native, Tucker.
So I think that, and there's also this kind of laid backness. I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not an expert, I guess, but I think there's this kind of laid backness, more hangout, like things are going to be okay, less urgency with I don't know, I'm trying to think how to word this. Like I think there's less intensity on, like I lived in New York City for 3 years before I moved here. So it was like quite a change of gear. So but like in Alabama, it just feels like people are okay with like sitting on your porch and chatting, hanging out, and there's more of that. That's, I guess, more Southern culture, like chill and have a beer. You're okay with hot weather. You can handle that stuff. Like you can handle sweating, and you almost enjoy it. Like it's like air conditioning can become difficult at times if you're in, for too long or something. Versus like when I compare it to something like New York, where everyone's like in a rush and intense, and like not friendly. I think there's more Southern kind of like friendliness. Accent, of course, is one big thing that you encounter here. I mean, I have like a very, I don't know, I don't have an accent. I don't know what I have. I say crick instead of creek, I guess, but that's not really anything at all.
Rick.
Yeah, down by the creek. I don't know. That's I don't know if
I don't
that's.
know. I think $355 rent would make me a little chill too.
Yeah, for $350 a month, you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So,
would. Shit, when you're living in New York, you're constantly thinking about paying rent all day, every day.
oh, it sucks. Yeah, I was making almost $60,000 a year at my job, my last job. Or yeah, I mean, some of that was going into retirement and blah blah blah. But like, end of the day, like, I mean, I still had to live like in a dishwasher for $1,000. You know, like that's just kind of great. It was great. I mean, New York's got this great velocity, but there's no like. I want to go to New York and like rent an Airbnb for like a week and just play for a week versus existing there. I mean, if I made, I don't know, $300,000 or more, it's fine. But I was so far from being any. I mean, if I would have lived there for 20 years, I don't think I'd be that. So just picked the wrong.
I had a similar experience with San Francisco. It was like I kept getting raises and like moving up, went back to college and got a different career and kept moving up, but it just was never enough. And it was like I was living in a little shoebox, like paying $17.50 or whatever, and I was cheap. And it was just like in my 20s, it was fun and cool, but when I got to like my 30s or like late 20s, 30s, I was like, okay, I gotta like think long term now. I gotta think.
Right. I mean, that's how I thought. I was like, I sat down and said, I mean, this is a cool job and cool city, but like in 10 years, it won't be different. Like I'll be living with whatever. I mean, maybe I'll meet a love of my life or whatever, but that never happened in New York. It's happened in Alabama. So I don't know how that, so like, I mean, I don't know. It's strange how life works, but that's, I don't know. Yeah, I think all those things, I mean, I was just so happy to have like a car again and have a backyard and like all these, a porch to sit on. Like, I don't know. I mean, just small things, but yeah, so I don't know. And not pay like $8 for one pint of beer every time. So like, I mean, I'm sure you know this in San Francisco, same thing, right? And so I don't know. Yeah, I think the Southern culture is just, it is a little bit different. It is funny when I go back to like Colorado and I've had family say things like, "Oh, Alabama," and they're saying that like it's another. I'm like, it's in America. It's it's not. People will say it as if it's a whole other country or something, but it's.
I always found it funny if you talk like in San Francisco. If I talk shit about like I don't know, I'm just not that I talk shit, but say oh fucking Iran or Bangladesh or something like how dare you? And they're like fuck Alabama, like applause. Like what? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny world, but I don't know. Maybe I'm a little spoiled being in a college town where you do have more. I mean, I more lean on the liberal side of things, so like you have very thoughtfulness. But I think you get in Alabama. If you go to like Birmingham, there's like well, I guess I'm speaking pre-COVID kind of times, but really exciting music scene, lots of microbreweries, like really great like nonprofits that like the creative writing collective where they bring tutoring to kids with creative writing and stuff like that. I think it's called something like that. But there are, there's lots of exciting stuff like that. The food here is really great. Like there's really great farmers markets. I don't know. I think and there's really good, it's like one of the top places to grow crops and stuff like that. It's one of the most biodiverse places. I don't know. I think Alabama's gets this kind of, it does get a big, you definitely see the things that it's known for, what it's like put as an image for. But I think that's true for every state though, probably.
Yeah.
Identity, man. Yeah. So is that like gators out there? Like, is that Alabama or like Louisiana?
In the southern Alabama, gators are there. Not so much where I am in the central north, but that's funny you brought that up. The gators. Last year I worked for Alabama Public Radio doing like reporting and journalism stuff. It's based out of the university, or it's housed in the university. And one of my first stories doing interviews for was the people who, whatever the game and wildlife people here, like you can do alligator hunting in Alabama, but they only give out, it's like a lottery system. So they only give out like 100 of them every year or something. So it's a big deal if you actually get one of these tickets, or I don't know, it's not a ticket, a tag or something. And you can only kill one gator, and you can only hunt during the night. So it's like all these rules and stuff, but it was funny. I remember asking the guy, like, what do people do with the alligator? Like, a lot of people eat it. They sell the skin. Yeah, and there a lot of them do harpooning because it's the less, like, if you shoot them in the head, it destroys you don't want to destroy the skin at all, I guess. I don't know. It was like this huge little story. But in the South there, I know they're much more prevalent in Florida and Louisiana probably, but in the South, yeah, I think Baldwin County, God, I don't know if I'm getting my counties right. Baldwin County in the South, I think, has a lot of gators and stuff. So they're definitely around.
It's kind of similar here with deer, right? Deer hunting. I've never been, but I hear it's like all tags, and if you don't get one, you don't get a hunt certain seasons.
Right. But it's a fucking gator, man. Shit, that's not. And you have to hunt at night. God damn.
Some dinosaur hunting there.
No, thank you.
Yeah, like in your boat, you either have like a shotgun or you got like a harpoon that you got to hit it on. I don't know. And you can only get one, so like I don't know. It'd be cool to hang out with a gator hunter. Like that would be, to get that story and get the sound on that. That would be a good radio story. But they didn't have the money to send me out on such a thing. But I would.
If you go to the bar and you're like, you meet someone and you're like, what do you do? You're like, oh, I sell insurance. Cool. That's so okay. And then you sit next to another guy like, what do you do? I'm a hunter of alligators. And he's just got like teeth around his neck. I don't know. Like, I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
You would probably be able to guess that he was an alligator hunter before you even asked him. I'm
sure. I don't know. I think he'll surprise you.
Maybe he would look like an insurance salesman. I don't know. Or maybe you have the gator vest. I'm not sure. Like Crocodile Dundee style. Picking his teeth with alligator toothpicks. I'm not sure.